Here are the stories we're covering this week in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Ubuntu 14.04 LTS has reached the end of life 5 years after it was first released. Amazon's AI automatically tracks and fires warehouse workers who it determines to be unproductive. Nintendo's hybrid Switch console now stands at 34.74 million units, which surpasses the sales of the incredibly popular N64. And Elon Musk has revealed his Neuralink startup is close to announcing the first brain-machine interface to connect humans and computers. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
Jeff Weston,
Yeah, man.
you're building a brand new, beautiful website,
What?
aren't you?
No. Am I?
Oh, you're a terrible actor.
What?
This is where acting comes into play.
Oh, I didn't know we were acting.
You're supposed to act.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
I'm building a really cool website. Are you building a really cool website? Just because Jeff is confused doesn't mean you have to be. Visit cat5.tv/DreamHost to sign up for unlimited web hosting for your website with unlimited email accounts, MySQL databases, the latest version of PHP, WordPress, and more, and even a free domain name registration. It's less than $6 per month, so sign up today. cat5.tv/DreamHost.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. Ubuntu 14.04 LTS has reached its end of life 5 years after it was first released. When a piece of software reaches end of life, most commonly called EOL, this marks the end of all support. And as of this past Tuesday, there will be no further security updates, package updates, or maintenance updates to Ubuntu 14.04 LTS for desktop or server users. Since 2012, each long-term support release, or LTS, of Ubuntu is backed by 5 years of ongoing supports, security patches, and critical fixes. The benefit of getting ongoing Band-Aids, bug solutions, and core packages is one of the reasons Ubuntu LTS releases are the preferred choice for millions of users. But even so, that support is finite. Although support for Ubuntu 14.04 ended April 30th, the OS itself will continue to work without any major issues. Third-party repositories can even continue to provide packages for the release, though very few will. Canonical advises that users of Ubuntu 14.04 LTS upgrade to an actively supported version of Ubuntu as soon as possible.
Cool.
Well,
I'm glad we don't have 5-year support on our life.
The upgrade path is really quite simple. So follow the directions that they provide, and you can actually get to the next version of Ubuntu LTS quite simply. Just using, because it's based on Debian. So like we're used to apt-get, and you can do all that through in Ubuntu as well.
Is there any reason why somebody would stick to 14.04? Like I can't imagine.
It's a server OS, right?
Right.
So, well, I mean, it can be. It's they offer both a server and desktop distros.
Right.
On a server, though, sometimes like you've got old software that depends on old dependencies, and maybe your company paid $20,000 to have that software developed, and do you want to redevelop it if, like, say it uses OpenSSL 1 or something like that? Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. Spend all the money you need to spend. Make it happen. But that might hold you back. I mean, and I hate to say it, but government, you see it a lot, where they've invested so much money in software, and this is why we sometimes hear about data breaches that have to do with software in various facilities, not just government, but companies as well. Because they spent a lot of money to build the software, and technology moves very, very fast.
Oh, yeah.
We have to budget as we're building that software for ongoing regular maintenance.
Right.
Like, it's like a regular thing. So it's not just like buy it and forget it. No, you've got to pay whoever's developing it to continually keep that up to date. But if you don't, then you've got software that depends on this old operating system. And if you upgrade the operating system, you'll break that software.
Right.
That's a big problem.
Ah.
It's catch-22.
It's like they all have to do this all at once. Like there needs to be a lot of communication and coordination, and everybody just
never stop evolving. You just can't ever stop evolving.
Right.
If you run websites, like people deploy WordPress websites and then don't have it actively maintained by somebody who understands how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get compromised and you wonder why.
Right.
Maybe you know why, but you got to spend the money to keep it
funny,
safe.
though, that people, they look at their cars and they're like, oh, I need to get my regular oil changes. I need to
it's true,
rotate
Jeff.
my tires.
Absolutely.
I've got to put money into my car. But when it comes to their computers and their software, it's like, I bought this 5 years ago. It still runs well.
It's good.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting analogy because I work in a computer shop and I know if I take my car somewhere and it has something wrong with it, something's clanking under the hood and they say it's going to cost X number of dollars, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it hurts, but it's got to be done.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
maybe it's at the point where now, okay, maybe I got to buy something else. But that you're spending money at that point. So, but in computers, you're right. A lot of people will say,
Ignore it.
oh, you know what? Nah, they're running servers with blown caps.
Yeah, some people are a little bit allergic to updates. They're a little bit
Software,
scared.
hardware too.
Part of the
Yeah.
problem is there's a mentality that comes with it where it's like, oh, there's a software update. Yeah, but there's bugs.
Exactly.
Don't update yet.
This is going to
And
slow
then people
things
go, oh,
down.
I'm going to ignore
or-
this, and then they don't do the update.
You're on Windows,
Right.
aren't you?
But the
Most
truth
people
of
are,
the
and that's
matter
the
is,
issue.
the truth of the matter is, some updates will brick your system, right? So
No, that doesn't happen, Sasha.
So it makes sense that people be afraid.
Michael, I hear you.
So
Last week we talked about how if you have a USB flash drive plugged into your computer and then the May update runs,
yeah.
it can break your system. And we have a viewer, Michael, who reported that it actually bricked his system.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can understand why people wouldn't want to do updates. But the thing is, when there is no more support, you got to.
Yep.
You got to.
Yeah.
It's time.
Keep on top of it. I mean, you absolutely have to. It's tough. It's certainly tough. And in business, it costs a ton of money. It really can.
Amazon's AI automatically tracks and fires warehouse workers who it determines to be unproductive. Amazon's fulfillment centers are the engine of the company. Massive warehouses where workers track, pack, sort, and shuffle each order before sending it on its way to the buyer's door. Critics say those fulfillment center workers face strenuous conditions. Workers are pressed to make rate, with some packing hundreds of boxes per hour and losing their job if they don't move fast enough. Documents obtained by The Verge show those productivity firings are far more common than outsiders realize. In a signed letter last year, an attorney representing Amazon said the company fired hundreds of employees at a single facility between August of 2017 and September 2018 for failing to meet productivity quotas. A spokesperson for the company said that, over the time, roughly 300 full-time associates were terminated for inefficiency. The number represents a substantial portion of the facility's workers. A spokesperson said the named fulfillment center in Baltimore includes about 2,500 full-time employees today. Assuming a steady rate, that would mean Amazon was firing more than 10% of its staff annually, solely for productivity reasons. The numbers are even more staggering in North America as a whole. Amazon operates more than 75 fulfillment centers with more than 125,000 full-time employees, suggesting thousands lose their job with the company annually for failing to move packages quickly enough. Documents also show a deeply automated tracking and termination process. Amazon's system tracks the rates of each individual associate's productivity, according to the letter, and automatically generates any warnings or terminations regarding quality or productivity without input from supervisors. Although Amazon says supervisors are able to override the process.
Okay.
Critics see the system as a machine that only sees numbers, not people. The system goes so far as to track time off task, which the company abbreviates as TOT. If workers breach from scanning packages for too long, the system automatically generates warnings and eventually the employee can be fired. Amazon says retraining is part of the process to get workers up to standards and that it only changes rates when more than 75% of workers at a facility are meeting goals. The bottom 5% of workers are placed on a training plan according to the company. An appeal system is also part of the termination process. Workers have at times pushed back against the company's productivity requirements. Last year, East African immigrant workers at a Minnesota facility organized protests against the company, saying they didn't have sufficient break time, including for prayer. In response, Amazon has continued to tout the benefits of working for the company, pointing to their hourly pay rates and policies like parental leave. But the documents make clear that some workers failing to meet productivity standards won't reap the benefits of a job at all. Right.
Jeff, I feel like you are going to have a lot to say about this.
Jeff, questions, comments,
What are
thoughts,
your views
concerns?
on this? Because I'm on the fence a little bit because I don't know all the details.
I am also on the fence a little bit because I've seen it both ways. I have worked in places where if I don't reach my goal or my quota, I'm reprimanded and I'm working really hard and somehow it just doesn't happen. Then I've also been in places where everybody seems to just be dragging their heels and not working nearly as hard as they could.
That's the thing. That's my
Right?
perspective. We live in a world right now where people feel like things need to be handed to them on a silver platter.
Right.
Let's take personal days and let's use our vacation or our sick days as vacation days. And the reason I'm on my phone is because this is totally reminding me of an episode of Doctor Who from season 12 where they had to visit a facility called Kerblam. And it's like, it was so Amazon. And this is absolutely ringing true with that episode where it's this massive warehouse and there are robots that are controlling people getting...
Right.
Okay.
But, okay, so here's the thing.
Quite literally in Doctor Who, though.
And I will, completely let you talk at some point, Jeff. But when it is pure data that is terminating people, it's really not based on, I guess, emotion.
But we understand from the news that the supervisor has the power to override and that the bottom 5% go through training processes to help them to better their productivity.
Right. People should be placed in jobs they're good at. If you are not good at this job, then you can't just keep it. If you're a bad boxer, sorry, but it's time to go. And it's the computer telling you, not me as your manager. So I feel a little bit better about that.
It's really tough because I do understand the side of it where there's the slave labor mentality. Well, I don't know that that's really the case, but I can see how it's being spun that way and putting Amazon in that light. But I think it's interesting that that technology can be used in order to monitor and report productivity because it is a real problem these days.
Yeah. Do you want a chance?
I've been good.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Jeff,
so,
because...
I completely disagree with this.
Okay.
I have no issue with a company setting performance standards. I have no issue with a company setting targeted goals and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
What I have an issue with is the fact that it is a computer making the decision. The fact is, we are all human beings. We all have different things that are built in. And so the problem with an AI-generated system that terminates employees is that it doesn't have the built-in properties.
Compassion?
Well, not even compassion, because I mean, if you remove all emotion from it and you look at it from, say, a legal standpoint, and you go, okay, so and so has a documented disability in which they have an accommodation, and they have limitations and restrictions on what they can do, and they can only move so fast, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but they're not getting the job, Jeff.
I was quiet. Mm-hmm. So
he's saying, Robbie, be quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
But all that stuff, you can't just plunk into a system and have the numbers work out, because the fact is there's a people factor, and you cannot have those decisions run by a computer. I can 100% see, and I have no issue with a company that goes, based on our performance metrics, it appears you're not up to snuff.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to help you get there, and they talked about training and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that the computer's like, you suck, you're out the door. No, I completely disagree.
Is that how it's being spun, though?
That is 100% what the news story said.
I know, but
That is what it
Really?
said. The
It's
AI
not
will
just-
terminate, and the supervisor
Can
can override. That means
Yeah.
the primary decision-making capabilities rest with a computer on whether humans are capable of keeping up with data for the system, and
Right.
that's not right.
Netflix needs to make a documentary.
I worked for a bank, and at the bank I worked, I had to sell credit cards and lines of credit.
Yeah.
And I
Sales job.
am bad at it. I am the worst salesperson. I would rather just buy things myself than sell them to anybody else. That's just who I am. I am bad at it. And the computer every single month told me I did not meet my sales goal. And they kept me at that job, I think because I was friendly, even though I didn't do a great job at all for a long time, but I wasn't the best person for that job.
Right.
Like I just wasn't. I wasn't a good match. I don't want you to have a visa.
But here's the thing. So we have
Not just Visa.
Performance measurement is everywhere in the workforce. You go to a McDonald's drive-through, and they have that little clock that says this person's been waiting more than the typical 30 seconds that it takes from.
All
order
right,
to
that's
pay.
it. Go sweep up the cigarette butts in the parking lot.
Right, but could you imagine if suddenly McDonald's institutes a computer that says, sorry, teenage job worker making minimum wage, you missed 30-second window times by, 30 seconds on average over the last week. You couldn't flip the burgers fast enough. You're out the door. Like, I'm sorry. Life happens. Life happens. You cannot have a computer make the decision.
What
Cannot.
happens if your Amazon package is really delayed?
We have to move on, guys.
Okay.
We have to move on.
Sorry.
I understand there's a human factor. We all go into work and we have lousy days. Once in a while, I'll go into work and I have an unproductive day.
Right.
And I try in that moment, to at least, I'll take calls and I'll do what I can to at least, get some paperwork done or whatever needs to be done. But if I just went into work, and there are people who will go into work at whatever job and just dilly-dally all day long, chat on Facebook and do all this kind of stuff, those people need to be cut. And unions, I'm sorry, hold those people in their positions, and I don't like that. So if there's a computer that says that, I know you will, but if there's a computer system that says, okay, this person is just wasting company time, that's different. I understand your perspective of they're doing their job, but they're just not very good at it, or they need to get better or faster or whatever. They're not meeting quotas. That's tough because, hey, if I've got a sore arm today, which I do, I'm not going to be packing boxes quite as fast as yesterday.
But how do you build that into the app? I feel like
tough.
we could spend
It's
an
really
entire show debating.
And so it's very polarizing because you can't ever have all the facts. And that's why I say, kind of tongue-in-cheek, Netflix
Right.
needs to do a documentary. I want to see what's really going on.
You know what? Don't worry, because there are more stories coming up.
Oh, good.
And
More polarizers.
Exactly.
Exceptional.
So we're
Thanks,
good.
Sasha.
No
All right,
problem.
let's move on to those.
Nintendo's hybrid Switch console now stands at 34.74 million units, which surpasses the sales of the incredibly popular N64. Nintendo's latest financial earnings results are now available, giving us a look at the company's hardware and software sales for the past fiscal year. Not only did Nintendo's recent spat of Switch exclusives sell an impressive number of copies, the Switch console itself has also hit a new sales milestone. During the fiscal year ended March 31st, Nintendo moved 16.95 million Switch consoles. While that fell just short of the company's revised plan to sell 17 million units during the fiscal year, it did represent a 12.7 year-on-year increase. Moreover, it brought the system's global sales thus far up to 34.74 million, surpassing the lifetime sales of the Nintendo 64, which stands at 32.93 million. The Switch has been an impressive rebound for Nintendo after the poor performance of the company's previous home console, the Wii U, which sold just 13.56 million units over its lifetime. The Switch, on the other hand, has been selling well since launching back in March 2017, managing to outsell its predecessor in just 10 months. However, it remains to be seen whether or not it'll match the company's best-selling home console, the Wii, which stands at 101.63 million.
Wow. I think they can do it. I think the Switch can do it. And I think part of the failure of the Wii U is that nobody needed a new console at that time.
Right.
It's like, why are you bringing out this new thing that's pretty much the same thing, just kind of revamped, and wanting me to buy this new thing? Like it.
Right.
Well, my Wii could play the GameCube and Nintendo Wii, so
Right.
I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm not upgrading.
Exactly.
Now we're at a time where it's time to upgrade.
And the Switch is smart. Like the whole Labo thing.
I don't know.
No,
I know
it's-
STEM is a hot thing, but are they doing it right?
They have Labo VR now.
It's overpriced.
Right?
Let's
So you
say
can
that.
just pop it in there. You can play Zelda VR. Now, it's not going to be perfect by
But
any
it's
means,
like-
but it's still going to be fun, and it's going to get people still interested.
Okay.
Right? Like, it's just going to
I
tweak
don't know. Labo's
imagination.
not a selling point for me.
I know it's not for you, but it's not about
would
you.
be-
It's
it
about
could
the
be for
kids.
It is about
Right?
me.
It's not though. It's
It's
not
all
for me
about
either.
me,
And I have a Switch
Sasha.
and I love it, and I probably won't buy a Labo thing, but it's
cardboard for $100.
Right?
Give me a break.
That
no,
is a perfect
that's
idea.
Dumb.
That is perfect.
No,
from a
I know
marketing
it's from a-
standpoint, it is absolutely
There's some
genius.
evil marketing genius
It is
that's like
absolutely. Here we are, just throwing our cardboard to the recycling willy nilly, and somebody else.
all of those Wii
cashing
U
in.
boxes that we've recycled, and we've just repainted them to make them look like a piano.
What about shoot up?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
I think
come
it's
on, come on.
absolutely genius idea.
But the game
Kudos.
console. So here's the scenario. We have a 55-inch TV hanging on the wall downstairs.
Yeah.
My daughter will be using it with the computer. So just a scenario. But one of the boys want to use the Switch. Well, she's on the TV. So what do? They pick it up out of the thing and they connect the controllers and they go and they play it on the couch.
Exactly.
And it's like, and then when she's done on the TV, they can take it and plug it in and continue playing their game. And it's like fantastic.
Right. And sometimes Dave and I are sitting on the couch and he's playing, and
Yeah.
it's a game where I can, also play. So he'll
Plug
just
it into the TV.
Well, no. Well,
Oh.
yeah, plug it into the TV, and
Yeah,
then the
two controllers.
The one controller turns into two controllers, and
Yeah.
you just flip them sideways. And
It's neat.
This is smart, Nintendo. You've done well.
I think the portability of it is what makes it so appealing.
Sure.
I mean, because you can't walk away with your Xbox, you can't walk away with your PlayStation.
Yeah.
So the fact that they said, you know what, how can we multifacet this platform so
Smart,
that it's
yeah.
on your TV, you can bring it in the car, you can take it to the beach, you can sit in a boring meeting and play. Like, they thought of everything.
Which is
The
good.
computer is going to fire you.
Which is good because the more you bring it around, the more the chance is you're going to drop it, break it, and need to buy a new one. Hence, selling millions of units.
And that's called the Sasha method.
That's the Sasha effect.
That's how she does it, folks.
Elon Musk has revealed that his Neuralink startup is close to announcing the first brain-machine interface to connect humans and computers.
What now?
Yep. The entrepreneur took to Twitter to tell followers the technology would be coming soon, though he failed to provide details. Neuralink was set up in 2016 with the ambitious goal of developing hardware to enhance the human brain. However, little about how this will work has been made public. The startup's website, which is advertising vacancies for 11 different jobs, describes the futuristic technology as an ultra-high bandwidth connection between the human brain and computers. Mr. Musk has frequently claimed the rapid rise of artificial intelligence poses an existential risk to humanity. Such an interface, he says, is essential if humans are to compete with such technology in the future. Speaking last year on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Mr. Musk said that Neuralink's technology would allow humans to effectively merge with AI. A paper published in Nature Nanotechnology in 2015 described a concept for this connection, explaining how a flexible circuit could be injected into a living brain. Charles Lieber, who co-authored the study, said, "We're trying to blur the distinction between electronic circuits and neural circuits. We have to walk before we can run, but we can think how really revolutionize our ability to interface with the brain." Despite the technology's potential to augment the human brain, experts have warned that the brain-computer interfaces risk being hijacked by rogue artificial intelligence. They warn that such a scenario could lead to AI controlling the thoughts, decisions, and emotions of a person using a brain-computer link.
Yikes.
So
Okay.
the person could fire someone. That's a
First of all,
computer.
I thought he was kidding. I mean, he was high.
This is awesome.
This is a real thing?
This is a real thing. And you know what? In the right situation, this is a great thing.
Like in a battle against robots.
However, like, can you imagine? Okay, because you only use what, 10% of your brain? I don't even know the stats.
40.
But you don't, like, no. You don't use much. Like, people don't use much of their brain. But if you had one of these little doodad worm guys in
Like the
in there,
Borg, yeah.
right, like a Borg.
Oh, yeah.
What if it could activate different parts of your brain and your awareness could go up? What if there are more senses to have?
It has some really neat potential
Right, and it could
for good and evil.
It could help to make decisions based on facts, not emotions.
I think AR, as an example, would be an incredible use for this type of technology. Now, Elon's kind of talking about using it to be able to interact with the computer in such a way that, because we have trouble, like, how can we understand what an AI is thinking? Because
Right.
we can't. It can't be visualized, and it's too fast and too messed up for us to conceptualize. So if there's an interface that can allow us to understand a little bit
Right.
about what the AI is thinking, then isn't that different?
So you may not be able to answer this question because you are not Elon Musk, but if somebody was speaking to me in another language and I had this, could I just understand them?
Sure. Universal translator. It's part of the Borg technology.
Right.
I don't see why not. I mean, we already
Right.
have that technology. It's in your smartphone, and you can actually, like my phone with the AI chip, it works really, really well, and happens almost in real time. And you can get devices that do that.
Right. Could this take your vitals in a way that if you were to be suffering
see
from
why
carbon monoxide poisoning, it would alert you before you fall asleep and die?
Hey, neat. So that would take augmentation with sensors.
Right. I'm thinking this is a great thing.
Hybrid cyborgs.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm just
Remember when science fiction was fiction?
well, like, yeah. This is
That's all you get from them, folks.
yeah. No, but, like this is another one of those ones where it could literally be the entire show of debate back and forth. But like as you were reading this story, and I'm going to try and be really quick about this because I know
Need to be. We're out of time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I remember back when I was in university that there was somebody who had was quadriplegic that had hooked up some sort of a transmitter to their head to run components of their house, opening doors and stuff like that.
Oh, neat.
I mean, that's going back to 15 years ago.
Okay.
But from the standpoint of your brain runs off electrical signals. So could you, in theory, with this, have somebody hack into the computer interface, reverse the electrical signals to now send signals to your brain to mimic things like you now think you see things that you're not actually seeing? Your body reacts differently.
Sure.
Like,
AR,
potentially
man.
You could be
Hacked.
hacked
What a great
to
defense.
have this kind of interface. And I don't know if we covered it on the show or if it was something I read, but recently within the last like 3 months, I read about people who had their two different people who had their brains hooked up to like 16 different electrodes that read electrical impulses within the brain, and as one person thought of a number, the number popped into the other person's head.
Cool.
So I mean, just with that kind of back and forth electrical signal to throw this kind of interface in, it's like there's a bad news.
And that has some scary implications. Do you remember the Black Mirror episode where the soldiers were seeing like creatures?
Right.
And so they were like, we
was a
need to
good
kill all of those creatures.
Yeah.
Right. So
Because
that's
they're
Yeah.
and really they were just people.
right. That's when it goes
But they were
wrong.
the enemy in war.
Yeah, they were genetically flawed.
That's what
Yeah.
the higher ups said.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So using AR, they were able to trick the soldiers into thinking that this was
Like dehumanizing.
Yeah, absolutely unhuman creatures that they had to kill because they're going to take over.
Right. So it could go really, really bad,
It really could.
but it could also be amazing.
It
This
could
is something
be
that requires
great.
so much regulatory oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
see
and
how
that's
that
tough.
goes.
That's tough. Let's jump over to CoinGecko and see what the crypto market looks like as of 1800 hours Eastern Time on Wednesday. What is today? The first? Wow, the 1st of May. 2019. Okay, Bitcoin, everything's down a little bit, but Bitcoin is down 95.46 US. It's down at $5,339.23. Litecoin's at $72.27 US dollar. Ethereum at 158.25, Monero at 63.77, Stellate, the little guy, 1.6 ten-thousandths of a cent. And Turtle Coin hanging in at 1.17 ten-thousandths of a cent. Remember, the cryptocurrency market never closes and is always volatile.
Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category 5.tv newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias. And for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category 5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Jeff Weston.